Hi, hello, and welcome back to another edition of Cooper's Rants about stuff no one asked for. My name is Cooper. I'm a career painter with 15 years of experience in painting and drawing. And today, we're going to be talking about storage. We're going to be talking about how to store and organize the resources that you as an artist accrue, how to keep everything in places that you can find them. I'm going to show you my way, although I will tell you that it is by no means the right way or the only way. Each of you is going to have your own way that works for you best, but I'm going to offer you at least an initial place to start or a place to scaffold off of in terms of how I keep all of my necessary documents as an artist organized so that I can find them quickly, because sometimes you do need to find your documents quickly. Things like CVs or artist statements or bios are things that you need, and your portfolio are things that you're going to need to be able to grab and plug into applications for the things that you apply to so that you can share your work with the community. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be showing you how I organize all the stuff that I'm constantly grabbing so that I can find it and use it later. So let's get into it. Oh, we're going to get serious today, actually, because I'm going to wear my spectacles, and it really goes with my Bay Area core outfit. Listen, it's hot today, and I'm very nostalgic for this shirt because it was my grandma's, and I've inherited it. So I get to wear it and think of her. She's dead now. I get to wear it and think of her, and also root for the local team. So let's get into it. The first thing we're going to look at is our Notes app. I split my energy between my Google Drive and my Notes app, and with each of them, I organize according to the PARA method, which stands for Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archives. You can see that on the left. So let's talk about which thing is supposed to go in each section. So projects is for things that I'm actively working on. So this is going to be classes that you're taking. It's going to be research or art projects that you're working on, or anything that has an end date but you are actively putting energy into it. So I'll show you my art research. This is an ongoing thing of mine. Here's lots of artists and library books and people I want to look at and videos I want to watch, even books I want to read. Some of them I've done, some of them I haven't. But I just have a landing pad where I can track all the stuff that I'm interested in that I want to continue to invest in. So that's projects. The next thing that we're going to look at is what's called areas. And so these are areas of responsibility, things that you have to do. So in grad school where I am now, I've had the opportunity to be teacher's assistant and to also be a teacher. So here's my teaching app, or here's my teaching folder for a class I taught called Painting in the Figure, with some notes about how to read paintings for my students, also presentation schedules for artists that I wanted them to look at. So that's areas. And then resources are for books, notes, inspirational quotes, just things that you want to have at your fingertips, but you don't necessarily need every moment or are actively working on. So that's resources, and that can be things like links to the Zooms or book notes or video ideas, past classes that you're finished taking notes for but you want to keep the notes, even birthdays or book recs, stuff like that. And then archives is going to be for things that you don't need anymore but they might be useful and you don't have a good reason to all the way throw them away. So this would be maybe stuff from undergrad or letters you've written to folks or notes from that are not really relevant to your life anymore, but you still want to have them if you need them, or notes for a class for a long time ago. And the first thing I'll do though is I have 3 main notes before my project areas, resources, archives. The best one that I look at is my quick notes. So this is when I'm talking to someone in my day-to-day and I need to write something down right then and there. So what I'll do is I'll just pull up my quick notes, write it down, and then I'll sort it later, right? So I've got titles for stuff, I have video ideas. Someone asked me what is it to feel alive, and I had to write about it, so I put some thoughts into that. And I'll sort all this and you later, and then this will go back to being zeroed out, this quick notes. So that's the Notes app version. And when you finish with that, then I get to move on to my Google Drive, which is where I store the bulk of all of my online personhood. So again, I have it broken into projects, areas, resources, and archives. But let me show you a little bit more of what that looks like beyond the Notes app. So for projects, these are things I'm actively working on. So I have social media projects, like my YouTube channel, teaching apps, things I'm applying to, and then things for exercise, and even my art careers is something I'm always working on. I have, this folder is probably the biggest one, full of the most stuff. So I have applications, tax stuff, public projects I apply to, my portfolio, where you can see I have it split into my paintings, my drawings, a work sample, which is just like an at-a-glance portfolio of images plus an image list. And so I have that so that it's easy to plug into stuff and apply to things quickly. But I also have something for CVs and even how-to for students or for myself that I can reference later, and also spreadsheets for grants and residencies, all sorts of artist-related things that are important that I need to be able to find quickly. So that's my projects tab. And then for the areas, this is where more of the crunchy stuff goes in. So if I click on this finance one, for example, I get to show you where I keep all my tax documents, which I've been working on since I think 2013 when I entered the workforce. So I have tax documents and tax returns from each of those years. So that goes in areas. And the next one we have is resources. And again, this is stuff that I might need later, but I don't necessarily need it at this moment. So I'll show you here one. Here's a folder called Wizard of Oz illustrations. These are from the original Frank L. Baum books from like the 1930s. My parents have a couple copies of them. So I can just show you some of the amazing, like I think they're woodblock prints that are present throughout the book series, but they're so beautiful and they're so expressive, and the line work is so bold but tight, that I look at them and I think about them all the time, and I want to come back to them or do something with them later, but I don't necessarily have something for them right in this moment. So it's in my resources folder in case I need them. And I also keep things here like family trips and gatherings, so photos and videos broken up by year. So here's one from last year in 2024. It was my grandma's funeral. We had Thanksgiving, Christmas. My youngest sibling turned 21. And then there was an event I went to called the Kinetic Sculpture Race. So I have records of all of those things that I can find quickly, which is helpful. The last thing is archives. So this is stuff that I might want to look at later, past places I've rented. You know, there's backups from when I used to have a Facebook account, old research or old art or old projects that I was excited about that are not really useful to me anymore, but I don't need to throw away. So I have them if I need them. So this is my Google Drive at a glance, and it really shows you how I store things, and also it makes it really easy to find things quickly, which is the whole point of this process. You can use the search bar on the top, so I'll show you. Look, I can just look at art and try to find my art, but then I have so many things where that word pops up that oftentimes if I'm trying to find something specific, it's just easier to go into my projects, to go into my art career, and then to find the portfolio image so that I can link it to someone. So that's the whole deal. Okay, so that about sums up everything that I do to keep my art practice organized. I use my Notes app, and I grab quick things and I put them on there, and then for the bigger ticket items, I house them in my Google Drive using the PAIR method, which again stands for projects, areas, resources, and archives. Now I'd like to hear from you. Let me know in the comments what you do to keep your art practice organized, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.